Hey guys, welcome to our first ever episode of our Let's Code series where I'm going to be showcasing projects that I've done outside of school and to bring content to you guys. So today I'm going to showcase my Manga Extractor script that I created over last winter break, and essentially it's going to query through mangafast.net, grab all the image files of the chapters that we want to download and convert them to a PDF and upload them to Google Drive. So I'm going to show you guys a quick demo of what that is. And let's say we want to download some chapters of Tokyo Ghoul. So we're going to query for Tokyo Ghoul on mangafast.net, and it'll return back two search results, Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul RE, and we just want the first result, so we're just going to input 0. It's going to then show us a broad range of chapters to download and create a Tokyo Ghoul folder on our current directory. So let's say we want to download chapters 1 and 2, so we do that. And it'll begin downloading chapters 1 and 2. It'll create a chapter 1 folder and extract all of the images from that query search. And there will be a bar down here to show progress. But this will take a little bit of time, and I'll speed things up so you guys can see it. So now it's going to start uploading to Google Drive, and it's going to create the folders on our Google Drive, and now it's going to start uploading the PDF files onto Google Drive. Again, the speed will depend on your internet upload speeds, and okay, so because the chapters of 1 and 2 were pretty long, the upload speeds were kind of slow, to be honest, but here's the proof that I uploaded on Google Drive. So here's my Google Drive, here's the Tokyo Ghoul folder, and now we can start viewing this. Like, let's say we want to view this on the bus. So we can open up our Google Drive, and now we can view our manga pages. It's a cool little project I created, so I hope you guys like it. Since I went over that, let's hop into the Python code. So I'm going to have basically the Python code on the left and then the website on the right, because we're going to be interfacing with both of them for a little bit. So basically, let's just create a new Python file. Anything above Python 3 will be okay, I'm sure. But so some of the libraries that we're going to need is Beautiful Soup, PS4. So let's import all that. So import Beautiful Soup. So this is going to be the main web scraper from Python, where we're going to be grabbing a bunch of things. We're also going to need pill, because we're going to do some image interfacing. We'll need import requests to make requests to the internet. We'll need OS because we'll be saving things to our desktop or to our file management system. So we'll need that. Import glob, import for rejexes, import shuttle. We're probably going to use Beautiful Soup for requests and OS and glob a lot in this. A lot of these import statements we'll probably use once or twice. There won't be too much for all the other ones, but here's essentially all the libraries we'll need. So now let's go on creating the main function, shall we? So in Python, it's really simple. You just create this and underscore main. So now here's our main function. Now let's make a function call to main. So, all right, here we are. Let's copy and paste this URL real quick into our comment section so we can refer to it back to it later, because we'll need to interface a lot with that. But basically the first step to creating this Manga Extractor is we need to know what the user is wanting to search, right? In that search bar right here. So let's make it so the user types in what they want to search up. So the title equals input from stdin manga to download. So the manga to download we stored in title, and now we'll create another function called search manga, where we will search the manga title using mangafast.net. So let's go create that. Oops. Bam. All right. So now we're on. Now let's go search the manga now. So when we were searching solo leveling, right? We need to copy the URL that essentially we have to understand the URL that is being brought up to us. So we notice that this is the base URL right here highlighted. And this $S equals is basically a query variable that goes to the back end of the system and tells them what to search. And because solo leveling is like more than one, like has a space in between, it's divided with a plus sign. So we're going to be creating this query URL from our base URL that we saved earlier. So let's quickly create our base URL variable. So that's just going to equal this first half. This will never change. We saw this in the first title screen of mangafast.net. And so we need to add this plus sign. So wherever a space is used, we need to replace it with a plus sign. So we're just going to do title equals title.replace. So every time we see a space, you're going to replace it with a plus sign. All right. We're just going to do search URL. Oops. Equals base URL plus. So now we need to add this $S. So $S equals, and then our title. Here's where things start to get tricky. So now we're going to start using requests. So R equals request.get the search URL. So now Python is essentially going to go and search this URL, and it's going to be stored in R. And then, so now we're going to create a beautiful soup variable where we will be able to tell the beautiful soup library like what to actually return back. So it's essentially getting it's basically getting the, what's it called? It's essentially getting the HTML from this page right now and storing it in soup. So if we look on this side of the screen, this is the website that'll pop up once we type in solo leveling. And we essentially want the choices that are right here. So let's go into this, we'll right click this, inspect it. So essentially we want beautiful soup to be able to find the table that contains all of the titles that would be displayed here. So we find that the div containing all the tables right there is this PMRG class, right? So back to our code, PMRG. So inside so we're gonna have what's it called? Table equals soup.find. So inside the HTML, we're gonna find the div that contains the attributes class and then PMRG. So you have to make sure that the spelling and all of that is correct inside the HTML code. PMRG thing is going to contain the table, and then so we want to look inside. So basically, we're going to have this the beautiful soup narrow inside this table and define the actual elements itself. So as we can see, the actual elements of the thing that we want is ls5. So we'll first create a titles array, and then we're gonna have Beautiful Soup find all the things, all the tags with ls5 which contain the elements that we want. So list of div equals table dot find all div attributes equals class, and then ls5. Yep. All right. I mean, we have to do an error check to see if there is no, what's it called? If there's no search, if there is no ls5, if there is no like table that contains all the search results, we need to make an error list to like basically exit out of this to tell us that there is nothing. So if the length of the list of div equals 0, so if there's nothing in the table, we're just gonna print there were no search results found, and then just return back to the main and redo this program. But if there is, here, let me zoom out of this a little bit. There we go. But if there is, we're gonna go do a for loop through all the divs in the list of divs. So essentially from here, we want to be able to look, we want to search through all the ls5 elements, and we want to essentially extract the title and also the link to that title, which will bring us to the manga that we want. So now we're going to create a dictionary, a Python dictionary. So title info equals dictionary. So we're going to create your title equals div.a.h3.text. Probably wondering, why are we doing that? Essentially, if you look at the div right here, we're going to go from this div ls5 to the a value, to the a tag, which will contain quite a lot of information right here. Then we're going to go to h3, which is right here. And this will contain the title that we want, solo leveling. And then the text value is solo leveling. But there's a bunch of like there's a bunch of like tabs and like new lines here. So we need to get rid of that. So we're just going to do title equals title.strip /n. And then we're going to get rid of all the tabs as well. And then so we're going to store that title in the title info dictionary. Okay, so now we have the title solo leveling. Now we want the tag or the link that brings us to that link. So we want that we want this href value. So we're just going to simply do title info link. So we're going to make a link variable equals div.a. So again, we're going from ls5 to the a tag. Now we're going to get the attribute href. And to signify attribute, it's just bracket and then parentheses or quotation marks, what attribute you want to give. And now we're just going to append this into the title array. So essentially what this is going to look like is this title array right here. This title array. It's essentially going to look like this. So you're going to have an array where it's going to have a bunch of dictionaries containing like the title, which it's going to be a string. It's going to have it's going to look something like this. Oops. And then we're going to have the link to that. And then it'll be like https link.com or something like that. And that's essentially what it's going to be. It's going to be, and then it's going to store a bunch of different titles and links, as you can see. So now that we stored all of the titles and the links into an array, we want the user to be able to choose which title they want, right? So let's make it easier for the user. So let's say there's only one title, like there is right here. So if the length of the title array equals 1, so if there's one thing in the title array, we just want to print that, right? So found that format, and then we just want to return back. We want to say we found solo leveling, which is the only title there is, right? There you go. And then we're just going to return back the title array and then the 0th value. So basically the first dictionary available. And we're actually going to return a dictionary right here. So let's go back to our main function. We're just going to return, basically we're just returning a title dictionary, correct? Yeah. So now we're just going to go back and return a title info. Cool. So now let's go all the way back up. And now we're going to do the other condition where if there's more than one title inside this title array, we're going to give the user an option to choose which one he wants. So let's do that real quick. So for I in range len of the title array, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the titles and then print them all out one by one. And then we're going to tell the user to basically input a number by the column of what title they want to download. And then we're going to return that title array at that index. So we're going to do, and then that format so title array. So we're going to print the index. We're going to print title array index is title for each thing in the title array. Then we're going to do a print statement for input. We're going to tell the user to input one number. Just a new line right here. And we're going to see what the user wants to input. Bam. So we're gonna do a big check essentially. So to see what the user inputs, we gotta basically check to see if the user input is like alphanumeric number. If it's a number, basically, it has to be a number. We have to see if the user input is not a decimal. I don't know why. I mean, we're just checking for all different scenarios that like a user would input. And we get that it has to be a value greater than 0 because that's what we're indexing through. And then we have to also, and it has to be a value the within the title array length, the length of the title array, my bad. So user input is less than equal to the length of the title array minus 1. So if it is, then we return the title array at that index. I mean, we have to also do another condition. So else, we print incorrect input back to the start. And return back name. Return nothing. So let's just test it out from here. So let's go and run our code. Python YT Extractor. Oh yeah, I forgot. With the libraries up here, you actually need to pip install a couple things. Pip install requests. Pip install HTML5 lib. And then we need also pip install BS4. All right, so now it should work. So let's say we want to download solo leveling, right? So it's gonna look, and it should bring us to this page right here. I found solo leveling, nice. So let's say we want to type in, let's try out a new manga like One Punch Man. All right, currently what I don't like about what's going on right here is there's a bunch of leading white space here and right here. So I need to figure that out real quick. And so what I believe is happening, maybe the strip isn't working. So we're just going to do a title equals title dot replace. We're going to replace all the tabs with nothing. And then we're just going to make sure that there's no leading and trailing white space. So we're going to do title dot strip and see if that fixes it. So let's see if that works. All right, bam, there it is. All right, cool, guys. That's honestly going to conclude our first episode of this manga journey, this manga coding journey. So, peace.